City volunteers helped two mentally challenged brothers whose house caught on fire. Two graduate students provide entertainment and love to solitary seniors in different places. Welcome to DaAi Headlines. I'm Siri Su. Thank you for joining us. In Malaysia, a fire incident due to Lunar New Year holidays almost burned down a house. The house owners are a pair of mentally challenged brothers. City volunteers provided assistance to this family 10 years ago and have once again returned to help them rebuild their home.
On the fourth day of Lunar New Year, a fire occurred in Senai Township, Malaysia. This fire had led to a pair of brothers who are both mentally challenged to lose their home. As the fire broke out quickly, the house was nearly burned to the ground.
Smoke came out of their windows and fire quickly spread. You started to see the smoke turn black, and the next thing you see, the entire roof was gone.
Here we can see the fire had destroyed most parts of the house. Many things were burned as well.
The passerby told me that the house next to mine was on fire. At the time, my children were at home, so I asked them to see what happened. They went over and saw that one of the brothers was burning papers and garbage in the middle of the living room.
Their mother had passed away many years ago. 10 years ago, she received assistance from Tzu Chi. For the brothers to be able to see the volunteers again, both of them feel joyful.
I'm grateful for all of the volunteers who came to see us. As for the next step in life, I believe I will go to work with my aunt so that I can rebuild my home and take care of my brother.
Besides delivering supplies, the volunteers also provided financial assistance. They will continue to accompany them, making sure that both of them are not alone on the journey to recovery.
In another fire-related report, in the Philippines, fires took place in Quezon City and Parañaque City, affecting more than 200 households. Upon learning of the news, city volunteers assessed damages in both cities and distributed aid supplies. City volunteers have come to the fire scene, seeing the devastation. This fire took place in Parañaque City, where 92 houses were destroyed and nearly 200 households affected.
If the fire had only destroyed my belongings, I would have thought it was all right. However, unfortunately, my mother had passed away, and that is really hard to accept. Thank you, Tzu Chi Foundation, for helping us in distributing supplies. It is a great help to us.
Joy's mother is one of the 3 people who passed away in the fire. City volunteers have immediately delivered food and supplies to help the affected residents.
Thank you for providing us with assistance. Tzu Chi has helped a lot, especially by giving us rice, lessening our burdens.
I can sympathize with their loss because in January of last year, a fire broke out at my house, so I understand what it feels like to lose everything. Therefore, we must provide the affected residents with strength so they can walk out of the shadows.
The familiar fire also appeared in heavily populated Quezon City. The fire has taken away everything for 40 families. Rodolfo can only rummage for usable supplies from the rubble.
These items, which were not destroyed in the fire, we put them into closets. After I rebuild my home, I can still use them.
The horror of the fire has terrified residents. Yolanda has come to receive Tzu Chi supplies along with her grandchild. She still recalls the horrible scene of the fire.
When the fire broke out, we only thought about escaping. I did not notice that I was not wearing my shoes. After the fire was put out, when I returned to my home to take a look, there was only the floor left.
After assessing the damage, Tzu Chi volunteers immediately started to distribute aid supplies, hoping to help the affected residents through these tough times. Waipu Elementary School is close to the humanitarian Ecotech Pavilion. The students and teachers have continuously visited the venue. Not only can the students learn about eco-friendly products, but they can also gain a better understanding of environmental protection.
The students of Waipu Elementary School paid a visit to the humanitarian Ecotech Pavilion. All of the students are curious while visiting each section. It only takes a 5-minute drive to travel from the school to the pavilion. Therefore, the teachers have already brought many students to pay a visit. Here, this teacher has always been caring for the environment. He often shares the concepts of environmental protection with the students.
Plastic pollution in the ocean exists today. After seeing the news, I will share it with my students. I would tell them that if we use plastics, we'll also harm the marine life.
At the pavilion, the children also saw the effects of global warming on polar bears.
If we don't do recycling, the global temperature is likely to rise. The ice in the Arctic will melt, leading the polar bears to lose their home.
The volunteers also encourage the students to practice energy saving. Now the students will conserve water while washing hands and turn off the lights as they go out.
We need to turn off the lights. If we are not using it, it's the same as unplugging electronic devices. While eating lunch, we encourage the students to finish all of the food. Do not have any leftovers. Besides adopting a healthy diet, we also tell them to reduce waste.
The director of the Student Affairs believes that bringing the students to the pavilion is a great way to teach them the importance of recycling. He hopes that the students can implement recycling practices in their daily lives.
Many volunteers at the Humanitarian Ecotech Pavilion are seniors. In our next report, we'll meet a few volunteers who are devoted and passionate about their work, often have the same goal, and that is to promote environmental awareness.
Tzu Chi volunteer Xie Yomei always welcomed the visitors with a smile. Although Xie Yomei is 80 years old, but she still feels young at heart. She used to work in the hotel services. After retiring, she joined the ranks of Tzu Chi volunteers. She has been volunteering at the recycling station with 82-year-old Bai Zhen Suruan, who also devoted herself to the volunteer work.
Tzu Chi is one big family. We have many members. So when the Ecotech Pavilion was recruiting volunteers, we could not sign up. There were already too many people.
Finally, they got the chance to come to the Ecotech Pavilion. They have seized every moment to volunteer.
Usually, the seniors in their 80s will stay at their house, but both of them have come out and volunteered in the community. More importantly, they enjoy what they are doing.
Here we can learn the concepts of environmental protection. I've learned a lot after visiting the pavilion. I encourage other people to visit this place.
73-year-old Liu Shouqing is a recycling volunteer. She had undergone a surgery. Therefore, she couldn't stand for too long. Despite her mobility issues, she still comes to the pavilion to promote vegetarianism.
If more people understand the importance of environmental protection, that it can be easily promoted. It's everyone's responsibility to protect the earth.
Many senior volunteers guide the visitors with joy and patience. They hope the public members can implement recycling practices in their daily lives. This way, we can save Mother Earth together.
In Taiwan, 2 graduate students from National Cheng Kung University have formed a care team. They go to different places to perform music to entertain solitary seniors. They said that while entertaining the seniors, they also feel love and warmth. While playing the guitar and singing, 2 National Cheng Kung University graduate students have traveled the distance to perform. They are here to accompany 94-year-old solitary Grandpa Guo, who's blind.
This activity reminds me of my grandfather. When my grandfather passed away, I did not have the chance to go see him. However, I can care for other seniors. In fact, I was raised by my grandmother. We study away from home and return home only once in a while. Attending such activity makes me feel that my grandmother is by my side.
He Jiayu grew up in a single-parent family, and Gan Xiaokai's mother is Filipino. Being away from their homes, they both love music and miss the seniors at home. Therefore, they formed a 2-people care team to care for seniors through music and with love.
The only thing I am good at is playing music, performing, and singing. I can express my emotions and my care for others through music. I simply want to share my happiness with other people. Rarely do I get so many visitors. It is wonderful. I am very satisfied.
Besides entertaining the senior, the two students also help the senior clean up his house. They believe that if one more person is willing to contribute, the society will be filled with love and warmth. In Jiangsu, China, there's a Tzu Chi recipient family. Wei Wei lives with her mother and grandmother. When Wei Wei was young, she and her mother suffered from domestic violence. Although her parents divorced in 2013, she and her mother had difficulties managing their emotions. In 2015, Tzu Chi volunteers began to accompany them. With the volunteers' love and care, they have become more open-minded.
Hello. Hi, 你好。
Wei Wei's grandmother was suddenly in trouble by a bout of high blood pressure just before attending the year-end blessing ceremony.
Wei Wei, don't worry too much about your grandmother. You should give her your best wishes. She'll be fine. In winter, people with high blood pressure should try to get up a little slower.
Wei Wei particularly feels attached to her grandmother.
I want to stay with my grandma. I will go wherever she goes. I always knew that this day would come.
Volunteers have long served as the communication bridge between Wei Wei and her mother.
Right now, you still have a mother, but when I get older and when I eventually pass away, you can be in the Tzu Chi family. This way, I will feel relief. Otherwise, I won't be able to let go of my worries.
Wei Wei, to tell you the truth, although you have no memory of your mother when you were young, she has always been there. When I contacted your mother back then, she was always concerned about you. Do you understand, Wei Wei? She even told me in secret, "Teacher Zhu, please take extra care of my daughter."
The mother-daughter pair, who has suffered from domestic violence, has difficulties managing their emotions. Tzu Chi volunteers began to accompany them back in November of 2015. Through Tzu Chi activities, they have been able to open up their hearts again.
Now, I will go along with my mother to do recycling. I take my medications every day. Instead of thinking about other negative thoughts, I am trying hard to stay positive and be more optimistic.
Wei Wei, who has artistic talent, hopes the meager income she earns from selling her paintings can support her family. Now she also brings her coin bank back to Tzu Chi regularly to help other people in need.
After Hurricane Maria devastated Puerto Rico, a Tzu Chi care recipient traveled to the United States to stay with her daughter. However, she ended up being abandoned by her daughter. She then returned to her hometown and asked her best friend for help. Luckily, her friend accompanied her as she rebuilt her home.
Esto está bien difícil.
On the day of the hurricane, about 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning, I heard a noise and I got up. I saw there was a strong wind, a very, very strong wind. I then ran to another room. I put this shelf here against this door so the wind would not blow the door off. I got into the closet. I was here with my puppy. I was trembling. It was cold and I was scared. I screamed out through the window asking for help, but nobody heard my voice.
Yo la pasé temblando.
I met Maria years ago and we're just like sisters. I didn't know her whereabouts during the hurricane. When I was in the shelter, I ran into her. At that time, she was very depressed and she had to go to the United States with her children.
I went to my daughter's home. It was a big mistake because my son-in-law spent all of my money and then they asked me to leave their home.
She came back because she had problems over there. She needs help emotionally and financially because she lives alone and she has no family by her side.
Yo por la noche estoy hasta las 4 de la mañana sin dormir.
I cannot fall asleep. If I close my eyes, I will start to cry and look at everything around which has happened to me. I do not have anything. I only have this house. This house is the only thing that I have left, which needs to be torn down completely to be rebuilt. Right now, we are here, but the house has been turned to the other side.
Since the hurricane is the first time that I've come to see the house, I am very shocked because I have many beautiful memories here. I do not know the conditions of her house and what kind of help she needs. Maria knows who her family is and who's close to her. They're just like Tzu Chi, who have helped us and understand the suffering that people went through in Puerto Rico.
Como ustedes que le están brindando la ayuda a uno. Esa fundación llegaron allí.
When the Tzu Chi Foundation came here, they called me and asked me to go to Tzu Chi. I thought they were going to give me supplies and food, but when I got there, I found they gave me much more. Besides caring for us and showing love to us, they even sang with us.
Me voy a llevar mi mercancía.
I'm going to get my coin bank and I will put all my savings into it.
Al bambú.
Esa es mi foto.
No la tuve fuerte que me mata.
Friendship is through thick and thin. We're not doing everything for our own interests. That's why I helped her, and she knows she's like a sister to me. In our ongoing series, we look at how Tzu Chi has worked with the Water Resources Agency and ITRI over the past few years to develop water purification equipment. Going by the name Q Water, such equipment has become lighter and smaller. This means that it can be sent to countries around the world. Let's learn more.
Tzu Chi brothers and sisters went to the area to investigate the disaster. When they returned, they said locals need hot food and clean water.
那边这是地下水的取水口哦，水深超过40米深。
Every well by these houses is very shallow. Basically, it has been polluted, as the turbidity is very high. We asked them what water they usually drink, and they say rainwater. The Tzu Chi volunteers took 2 sets of 4th-generation Q Water, a Tzu Chi developed water purifier, to the village to be assembled and used. After a quick drink, they have confidence in the clean water. Soon the news spread, and despite the mud and being barefoot, many people came. After setting it up, a lot of villagers are waiting in a queue every day for our clean water. The entire row of clean water supplies in the village chief's office is like rain in the desert, since the supply of drinking water has been solved for more than 800 villagers. Up until October 2018, when Tzu Chi volunteers completed their emergency rescue service, leaving a set of water purifiers, though they still continue to perform some tasks in the area.
During disasters, our drinking water can experience this type of turbidity. As long as there's water purification equipment, in just 10 seconds, this saving water can be produced.
现在可以喝了吗？
可以了。
出来了。 喝起来的感觉怎么样？
口感还不错。
This set of water purifiers is the 3rd generation of Q Water from Tzu Chi, which returned from Laos. It can be carried in 4 airplane suitcases. This highly convenient design is the latest development from the Water Resources Agency, ITRI, and Tzu Chi, who have been working on this project for the past 8 years.
This container is actually the 1st generation of water purification equipment from Tzu Chi. It was used on 4 major disaster relief missions by Tzu Chi volunteers.
请问第一次是在什么时候
？2000年前往委瑞瑞纳赈灾
，2001年到汐止赈灾，2004年到菲律宾赈灾，2004年南亚海啸印尼雅西赈灾。
Although the first-generation water purification equipment is currently in storage, Tzu Chi's emergency rescue water purification team often performs regular maintenance. 3/4 of a container is a water reservoir. The other quarter is a control system, and the generator and filtering buckets. From this pipe, water enters. There are 2 chemicals. One is chlorine, and the other is potassium alum. The water purification equipment in this 20-foot container can produce 500 tons of water a day. Such a large amount of water is like a small water plant, which is very helpful in disaster areas. Entering Itri, the water purification equipment displayed in front of us is Q Water, which was done through cooperation with Tzu Chi. Its core technology also meets conditions associated with various disaster relief missions. Most important water pollutants in disaster areas are turbidity and bacteria in the water, so we designed 3 water purification units. The first filters BioNet porous foam, which looks like the filter from an aquarium, as the main function is to remove turbidity. The second is activated carbon, which mainly absorbs organic pollutants. The third is UF ultrafiltration membrane, which separates bacteria and fine materials. The average bacteria is probably around a micron in size, but the UF can separate at 0.1 micron, catching some 90% of bacteria, so it makes our drinking water more safe. Finally, with UV lamp sterilization, people can have great confidence in drinking clean water. For the second generation of Q Water, emphasis was put on immediate consumption, with more attempts to make it more mobile. This 20-foot container, when it arrives at the disaster area, it can't move at all. There must be a crane to install it. Secondly, it requires a lot of water, so we will have to change our direction and think of a honeycomb concept. The improved 3.5-ton water purifiers came in handy during Typhoon Haiyan in the Philippines. However, something unexpected occurred. Because our Q Water can't handle sodium ions, the salt must pass through RO before we can handle it. Then we started thinking about brackish water when we are doing disaster relief and how to deal with it. A new generation of water purification system with RO was added to remove ions from the water. They did not expect to use the system in Taiwan 2 years later. Typhoon Sodalor brought mud and debris to Wulai. The turbidity of the Nansha River, a major water source in the greater Taipei area, was quite high. Tzu Chi quickly dispatched a clean water rescue operation. Because a local water source is too turbid, there's no way to handle it. Water from other areas was brought by truck. Then this water treatment equipment was used to provide clean water to disaster victims. The turbidity of the raw water is too high, which affected the efficiency of the water purifier. For this reason, volunteers went to find suitable spring water. This is the beginning of their task to produce clean water. On average, 15 tons of water was produced every day, which could successfully supply the Army deployed for disaster relief work and 6,000 residents. In fact, we see that disasters every year are getting more and more serious. We hope in the future we can have more water purification equipment to meet the different needs of various disaster areas. When there is clean water, disaster can be avoided. The combination of technology and compassion, as well as a commitment to disaster relief, can provide great strength in mitigating future natural disasters.
On Valentine's Day, some residents from the Institute for the Mentally Challenged performed at the police station in Taichung. In addition, they gave chocolate flowers to the police officers. We'll leave you with these images. Thank you for joining us. Goodbye.